Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the TAPS Academic Championships 2020 Academic Testing webinar. My name is John Skees. I am the Director of Media at TAPS. I'm joined today by Robert Huckabee, our Athletic Director and Director of Compliance, Vina Williams, our Fine Arts Director, and Brian Bunselmeyer, the Executive Director of TAPS. Just a couple of reminders. This session is being recorded. If you registered for this webinar through GoToWebinar, you will get an email tomorrow or later today that has a link to the recording. We are also going to put a recording on our YouTube channel, which will be available this afternoon. So if you need to review this material or send it to somebody who couldn't be with us today, those links are there and they'll be posted on our website. Also, if you are an academic coach and your team is on social media, give us a follow at TAPS Academics. We'll be posting information there as we get closer to the meet. That's also a good resource for parents or any spectators or other coaches or people from your school that want to follow along with what's going on. If you have any questions as we go through the session today, use that chat box or the questions box that you're going to see in the GoToWebinar control panel. We're going to keep an eye on that as we go through, and we'll be answering your questions. And we'll also have a formal question and answer session at the end. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brian real quick, and then we'll get started.
Just want to thank you for joining us here today. I know we had to cancel the January meeting. This will probably be the format for meetings as we move forward. It's a little bit easier, especially since on the last seminar and right now we have people from El Paso and Brownwood and Amarillo on the webinar with us. Glad you didn't have to travel to Waco today. We do appreciate you joining us. Vina Williams, our Fine Art Director, is going to go over our academic testing. We do encourage you to ask whatever questions you have as we move forward. We'll wrap it up. And again, it will be posted. So if you have folks call or ask questions, this is a good way to go back to review the situation. The dates are there, March the 31st through April 1st. So with that, Vina, the webinar is yours.
Good morning, guys. Like Brian said, on that first slide, you see that the academic testing date does start March 31st and April 1st through April 1st, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Academic testing is actually just on the Tuesday and Wednesday, but the academic meet will begin Monday with debate and persuasive speaking. Also added this year, we will have our robotics competition on Monday, so we will have lots of action going on at the convention center. I am the Director of Fine Arts with TAPS, but it's more important that I also know who you are. So if you're just joining us this morning for our academics webinar, welcome. I'm going to review a few things discussed in the speech webinar for those of you who were not with us the last hour. The best way to reach us is through our contact link on the website or through direct email to info@taps.biz. The email tickets sent there are accessible by all our staff and guarantees you get the right person to respond to your inquiries. Also equally important for us is to know who you are. Your school needs to designate a fine arts director who will be our first point of contact from our office to your school. We will also need to know your academic coaches and assistant coaches, which can include any teachers that help prepare your students for the academic test. You will designate these roles in our online systems, which we will cover shortly. So we get a lot of first-year teachers or new to TAPS teachers, and they say, where do I start? Today's webinar will get you headed in the right direction and set you up for a successful season. We'll discuss where to get the information, how to prepare yourself as a coach, how to prepare your students, and we'll talk about some meet expectations and cover some common situations. We have 3 websites that give or receive information. So let's start with our main website, taps.biz. Taps.biz is our homepage. It has main links at the top, recent news posts on the right, and if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see our calendar. Feel free to explore those links daily, but today we're going to look closer at the fine arts link. The academic and speech falls under our fine arts events with TAPS. So clicking on that fine arts link, you see the debate and speech there. Robotics is not actually a part of the academic meet, but it will take place at the same event. They have their own championship going on in the Chisholm Hall. Below the chart is a list of the fine art fees, and it includes the academic championship fees as well as results, honors, certificates. So be sure to scroll down on all the web pages when you're viewing the website. So clicking on the academics link, here you'll find our important dates and deadlines, links to resources such as study materials, and on the right, the archives of our news blasts. As resources become available, they'll be added on this page. There's also a main red menu bar that gives us the information we need for the Academics and Speech Championship. The rules link will take you to our bylaws. When you click the rules from this academics page, it will take a moment to load, but then the document will jump straight to the academic rules. If you start scrolling before it's completely loaded, you'll override the jump to feature, and then you'll have to scroll a long time to get through all the athletics portions before you get to the academics and speech sections. So be sure to just click the rules and just wait a second, and it'll take you straight to the academic sections. The FAQs there will be updated throughout the season as we receive questions. The championship link information will have the information on the location, the schedule, maps of the facility, maps to the facility, and any required forms. The honors link is where we'll have post our results, and that hotels link is where you can book your hotels. It'll take you straight to our hotel booking page. We'll talk more about preparation and meet logistics soon, but let's continue on with our two other websites. Rank 1 is another one of the sites that you need to be familiar with. Rank 1 is our new system for student eligibility and coach compliance. It is also our main way to contact you. You will need to make sure you're set up in Rank 1 with your athletic director or your fine arts director. Your faculty profile will need to be complete with scope compliance. If you are exempt from the scope for attending the June convention, you'll still need to complete the professional acknowledgement of rules. Your students will also need to have a profile here in Rank 1 to establish eligibility. Your students will be listed on an academics roster so that we can easily see that eligibility list. Student registration in Rank 1 may take some time depending on if the student is a transfer, an international student, or has other unique situations. Please do not wait to start this eligibility process the week entries are due. Parents do have to log in and complete the account profile. So make sure that you start this process right away for the students that you know are competing in academics. And like I said, Rank 1 is our main outlet for contacting you. So it's imperative that your contact information is complete and up to date. In the speech webinar earlier, we did have some questions about Rank 1. And so I'm going to go ahead and let Robert speak a little bit about Rank 1.
Thank you, Vina. Good morning to everyone. There were a couple of questions in the previous webinar about Rank 1. If you have any questions going forward, because this is new and foreign to you, that's perfectly fine. We initiated this back in the fall. Obviously, it started with athletic directors because we had our sports beginning the year back on August 1st. So if you have any questions, go to that person at your school. They can help set you up and get you in there. If you have any other questions, please reach out to our office, info@taps.biz, or give us a call here in the office, 254-947-9268. We can help you walk through that process. One question that did come up in the previous webinar was about physicals for students. If you have students that are in academics and they've been participating in sports throughout the year already, they'll already be in the system and all of their information eligibility-wise will be complete. If you have students, however, who haven't done anything athletically or they haven't been in one-act play or cheer or dance, they very well may not have a profile set up yet. If they don't, make sure you know the list of your students that are going to be participating, that they're in the Rank 1 system, and that all that's been done. The parents do need to fill out the student profile because the parent and student will sign off on our annual acknowledgement of rules, We're now doing that on an online form submission, so it's easier for the parents and students and for you at your school to track those things. With regard to physicals, those are not required for our students in the academic competitions. You will not have that as a requirement, but make sure you fulfill all those other requirements.
Thanks, Robert. The third website is Tapster. We've been using Tapster for years. We will continue to use it in the fine arts for entry submission and meet management. So your faculty profiles will still need to be up to date in Tapster, as well as putting your entries in. I'll do another webinar or entries submission instructions at a later date. Today, let's just talk about the preparation for the meet and how to prepare yourself. Preparing yourself is just as important as preparing your students. We do have an academic coaches checklist that will be posted on the website, and if you go through that checklist and complete the tasks listed, then you should be on your way to being well prepared. Part of the preparation is knowing the rules. Knowing the rules is important, not just for the coaches, but also for the student participants. There are general rules that define eligibility, registration requirements, proctoring expectations, grading scales, and test procedures. But there are also category-specific rules that define time limits, testing expectations, the start and the stop signals. There's required tools such as what pen versus what pencil, or can I use a calculator or not? So please make sure you cover the rules for each test with your different test takers. Make sure they understand when they're taking this particular math test that it might have slightly different rules from the social studies test. Practice reading the instructions to them so that they get used to the experience and procedure prior to the event. You could take practice tests so that they know what to do if they finish early, or if they're not sure what to do if they're not done when time is called. Just prepare them for different scenarios. Remind them of things like during the test, no questions may be asked. Contestants talking or making distracting noises may be disqualified. There are no audible time warnings given once the test begins. So it's important that the responsibility of each contestant is to monitor their own time remaining with a device that doesn't connect to the internet or make audible sounds. Things like that are what you need to remind your students on with the rules. And then one other rule that sometimes people forget is reviewing which contests actually have an essay. Contestants to fail to write the essay will be disqualified, is what it says. So even though an essay might just be used as a tiebreaker, if the student doesn't write the essay, the test is disqualified. So make sure that you know exactly which categories those requirements belong to. Study materials are posted on the academics webpage. You can purchase past year's tests from our office. They work great as practice tests prior to the event and kind of gets the kids in the right mindset. There are also reading lists for Lit Crit and a reading list for social studies tests. Those are also posted on the website. Spelling materials from the Spelling Test Writer, ASW. There's a link to their website, and there's also study materials that Hexco puts together for some other tests. Looking at the meet logistics, the official schedule will be posted later today. It will have the conflict schedule with what's happening and when. We just need to double check a few things. But looking at the overview, this year we will have LD debate on Monday, along with persuasive speaking prelims and semis. And then also in the Chisholm Hall, we'll have robotics going on. On Tuesday, we'll finish up with the persuasive finals and do the remaining speech prelims, and then have our spelling, Spanish, current events, Lit Crit, and social studies tests throughout the day. On Wednesday, we'll finish up the remaining speech semis and finals, and then also have the number sense, calculator, TAPS math, advanced math, and science tests. So the main question that we usually get around this time is we need the schedule so we could figure out how we can cross-enter our students. Well, no speech events conflict with other speech events. So students may participate in both persuasive speaking and LD on the first day. And then on the second day, no speech prelim rounds conflict with other speech categories. So if you have a speech student, they can do all the speech events. For the speech events on the final day, we work with the speaking orders in case they advance in multiple rounds. Likewise, with the academic testing, no academic test is in conflict with another academic test. So if you have a student that wants to take all the academic tests, they are able to do so. The only thing that you can't do is cross-enter a student from a speech event that is happening at the same time as the academic event. Now, on the schedule, there might be a 15-minute gap between one and the other. So one might start at 9:15 and the other one might start at 9:30. Know that the test is longer than 15 minutes, and so they won't be able to go from that 9:15 to the 9:30. So it's important that when you're looking at the conflict schedule, you're looking at the amount of time that it's going to take for the test to happen. So students may not cross-enter from speech with an academic test. And then if you do have a speech person that did some testing on day one and they advance to, day two, and they advance to the finals on day three, but we're also scheduled to take a math test, then that test will need to have a substitute. So any students that make it to the final round on the last day needs to find a substitute for any conflicting academic test. For substitutions, we will allow substitutions if you have someone that is no longer able to make it to the event, but you can only make substitutions for those same categories. So if John was scheduled to take the math test and he can no longer take the math test, you can substitute someone else in that place of the math test. The entry deadline's March 16th. And the way we'll do it this year is any substitution that needs to be made after that date will just be made at registration. All entries registered on March 17th will be responsible for the fees charged. So you need to get all your entries in. And then if you have a drop, you're still responsible for those fees, but you can make a substitution. After that date, we won't be able to add anyone else because we will have preparations for tests and facility arrangements. So that March 17th, when we register those entries, that's going to be our final number. We will have a neat inventory list that will be required for the on-site substitutions that will be in Tapster once the entries are registered. And basically, you will print that form, and then it will have all your academic and speech entries listed with the students and the category. And you'll just mark out the student name and replace it with the new student who's taking their place. So you won't be able to make additions on site, but you will be able to make substitutions. The academic meet takes a lot of people to make it happen. For the speech side, we need tons of judges. The academic side, we need proctors and graders. We are asking that schools are responsible for signing up one proctor grader for every 4 academic entries. Now, I need to stress that the proctor grader is a one-job thing where the person is going to both proctor the exam as well as stay and grade the exam. There's been some situations in the past where we have plenty of people walking around the testing room and making sure everybody's good and quiet and the proctoring is happening. And then when it's time to grade the papers, only half of them make it to the grading room. We need to make sure that when you sign up, that you're signing up, when you sign up for the spelling test, you're signing up to proctor that test as well as grade that test. So volunteers should report to the testing room 5 minutes prior to the scheduled test and plan to be unavailable for the duration of the test and then after the test also for grading. The more graders we have, the faster the grading happens. So please remember to sign up Proctor Graders. I'm going to take a few moments to just go over a couple of things that we have, situations that come up. And these are just little reminders. In the testing room, sometimes students arrive without the correct writing tool. They may have brought a pen, but it's required that it be done in pencil or vice versa. So please review the pen or pencil, the rules regarding which tests require which tools, which tests allow calculators, which don't. We also sometimes have an issue with students raising their hand to ask a question during the test. So remind them ahead of time that there are no questions, there's no interruptions, it's just you get your test and you start working and it's just quiet. And then we also, like I said, with the Proctor Graders, we end up with not enough Proctor or Graders, so the grading is taking a long time. Like I said, every school should volunteer at least one knowledgeable person for every 4 testers that you have. And I'm not talking people, I'm talking entries, the number of academic entries that you enter. So if you've got 4 kids taking 5 tests each, that's 20 tests. So you need to have 5 signups for the Proctor Graders. This academic meet has been growing so much over the last couple of years. Last year, or 2 years ago, we had 2,891 academic and speech entries. Last year, we had 3,509. That's almost a 20% increase. So our event is growing, and so we need to make sure that we're providing the volunteer help that is necessary to make sure that the meet is successful. We're going to have workshops again in June for our convention. The convention was well received last year, so I want you to go ahead and mark your calendars for the 2020 convention. It's June 10th and 11th at the Waco Convention Center. We will have session topics as they're available. We'll update those on our convention webpage. And if you're interested in leading a workshop for 2020, let me know via the info@taps.biz email address, and we'll look at your proposals. This is all I have for today. I want you to just note our web address, taps.biz, and then our contact info@taps.biz, and our phone number if you need to contact us. Just let me know if you have questions. So I think we're going to open it up to questions that you could type in, and we'll see what we can answer.
Yes, Vina, this is Robert. We have a couple of questions already. We're going to start going through those. Like Vina said, if you have other questions, go ahead and type those in now. We'll get to those in order. First question we have says, for rank 1, there's no debate specification. Do we just list the LD students under academics? Yes. Just list them under academics and they'll be fine in there for rank 1 purposes. We're using that database to make sure everybody's in the system and that eligibility is good. Next question we have is, do we enter our, no, back up one, I'm sorry. Go for ready writing. Yes, for ready writing, is there anything we need to do by February 7th besides put them in Tapster? Yes, they do need to be in rank 1. So you need to make sure your student is in rank 1 as well before the ready writing contest begins. Next one's about yearbook. Brian, you going to take that one?
Basically, the question has been, we've received this call all day. The deadline for yearbook is tomorrow. So we do need your yearbooks in-house. If you are in rank 1 already, you should have received a push notification. There is a post on the academic page that says listing of whose yearbooks we have received. So if you go look at that and your yearbook is not there, please give us a call here at the office at 254-947-9268 if you still plan on submitting it, 254-947-9268, or drop us the email at info@taps.biz to let us know your intentions, and we'll work something through for you. Your yearbook will need to be entered in Tapster prior to the meet in March, so we do have a little time on that one. John, what's our next question up there?
In the case of ready writing, which occurs before the main event, when is the money to be turned in? Will it happen at the regularly scheduled event, or will it need to be a separate check?
Ready writing, and just like Yearbook, even though they're occurring prior to the event, you'll pay for it all in one time when you register at the competition. And registration will be open if you get there early for robotics, or get there early for LD, or for the persuasive speaking. We'll have registration available all day on Monday and Tuesday. So everything just needs to be paid on one. Right now, we need to get your books in, and then we'll work from there. We will talk about signing up ready writing graders and judges at a later time in a different webinar, so we appreciate that question. Vina, how many entries are allowed in each category this year?
3 for every category, 3 LD, 3 for every speech, and 3 for every academic entry.
We will. The other question was, will we have an email going out for signing up your ready writers, etc.? Again, all of our communication will be coming to you through Rank 1, so you will expect a Rank 1 push. So make sure your fine art directors, your academic directors, whoever it is that's going to be coaching those contests, is in Rank 1, so that you'll be receiving those emails as we push through. So we will have information on how to enter your ready writers prior to the contest. And again, those contests are scheduled. They'll take those at your school, so make sure you follow the calendar. Vina, talk a little bit more about the ready writing contest and how that occurs, please.
So ready writing does take place on site at your own location. You do need to pick a date and a time that all 3 of your writers can write. The dates listed on the website are specific so that we have the correct schools, the correct students activated in the system. If for whatever reason you have a conflict with those dates, you can just send that in to info@taps.biz, and I'll try to come up with an alternate date for you. But it is very important that all your students test at the same time. The ready writing instructions will be posted on the website. It will include exactly what you need to do for those student profile and how to create the entry. It will also include instructions and an explanation of what the students will expect when they get their when they log in. So basically, they'll log into the system. They'll be given 90 minutes from the time after they read the instructions. When they push the begin, it'll give them 2 prompts that they'll choose from, and then they'll start writing on either of the prompts. And when they're done, they'll submit it, and it will be in the system for grading. And then we will take the time between the last test date until the event to grade the papers. So like Brian said, we will send out information with that, as well as a request for ready writer graders for that to be completed prior to the event.
So again, that information will be pushed through Rank 1, and those pushes will come to you so that you have the ability there to read that. Also on the TAPS academic webpage, so if you go to taps.biz, B-I-Z, click on Fine Arts, click on Academics, the blog at the right-hand side will be where we continue to push information. So that's where we're rocking and rolling. The question comes, are ready writing students using Rank 1 or Tapster? They will be using Tapster. You have to use Rank 1 to make them eligible. Tapster is where we will be doing the test. So, and we have a few quirky issues with Rank 1. If you have one, please give us a call here at the TAPS office, and we'll try to walk you through. We're having a meeting with Rank 1 tomorrow to figure that out. So to my friend in El Paso, we will get you covered if you just give us a holler here. I want to mention that the conflict schedule will be posted on the academic and the speech web pages by the end of business today. As a reminder, robotics will be on day 1 along with persuasive speaking, and then your academic tests are on Tuesday and Wednesday. As the day starts to go forward on Wednesday, many times we have fewer proctors and much fewer graders. So if you have kids in those back end events on Wednesday, please make sure you stick around to help us get out by grading. So that will help us as well. So again, yearbook submission, Rank 1 push, go to the Fine Arts page on taps.biz, click on Academics, and you'll see if your school has, your yearbook has been received. If you don't see your school on that list, please make sure you give us a call. Robert, you have anything else to add while we're here today?
No, we're available if you have questions. We know that some of you have done this many years. Some of you are new to it. Doesn't matter. Any questions you have, reach out to us. We'll be glad to assist you. info@taps.biz.
Okay, looks like that's it for our questions. Again, if you have any more, just send them to info@taps.biz or call us at the office. To wrap up, I'll say one more time: if your academic team is on social media, give us a follow. Taps Academics. Tag us in the stuff that you're doing to prepare for the conference. We'll get some retweets out there. We like to share what our schools are up to and kind of build that web presence a little bit. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention today. This recording will be available on YouTube this afternoon. And if you registered for this webinar, you'll get an email tomorrow that has another link to our GoToWebinar recording. Thank you, folks, and have a good day.